It's time for an exclusive story right here on the Pro Channel. Did Nielsen, the charting company, give Disney a major assist, either knowingly or unknowingly? Today, we'll show you that it's almost definitive now that Tubi and Roku are defeating Disney Plus, but somebody somewhere is determined to hide that. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the channel that makes you say over and over, well, would you imagine that? And then it comes true. Today, we're going to tell you how YouTube is running away, taking the lead by far in streaming, but Tubi and Roku are not losing to Disney, despite the fact that you might think otherwise. And wouldn't it be fascinating if people knew the truth? Well, that's what we're aiming to do right now. Click the like button, and here we go. Did Disney get a big assist from Nielsen? That is the topic of this segment. And Mac, at Now It's Known, has made this possible. We want to send a big shout out. We're going to go through the gauges. The gauges from Nielsen show us which streaming platforms have which percentages helping them out. If we click here, you can see that we have both April and March. Now, Mac has put these together for us, and we're so appreciative. In March, Disney had 5%, and of course, this is when Disney had all of their stuff put together. Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN, and anything else that they've got. Before that, they had it segregated out where you could see Disney Plus, Hulu separately. Okay. In March, Disney had 5%. In April, Disney had 5%. And I'm going to give you a spoiler. In May, that just released, Disney still has 5%, spread across 3 big streaming platforms. But look at the other stuff. This is what's going to matter. First of all, pay attention to YouTube. YouTube went from 12% in March to 12.4% in April. Spoiler, it's going to grow even more when we get to May. But I want you to pay particular attention to Roku and Tubi, because here's what we now believe. Roku and Tubi had 2.2 and 1.9% of the market share, respectively, in March. In April, Roku and Tubi had grown to 2.4 and 2%. And for those of you who have been long-time listeners and viewers of the channel, you may remember that we predicted that Disney was going to be humiliated as Tubi beat Disney Plus in market share. Well, maybe, just maybe, that could not be allowed. And maybe, just maybe, that's why the change had to happen where we can no longer see Disney Plus by itself. Let's now go to May of 2025, which has just released per Nielsen, and here's what we have. YouTube continues to grow, gaining yet again up to 12.5%, and we must say that YouTube has this little word next to it that says main, and that little word means that it's not all of YouTube. It's just one tiny part of YouTube, not everything. It's still dominating 12.5% of the entire streaming market share. Netflix is at 7.5%, holding basically steady. Disney continues to be where Disney is, but my oh my, how things are flying with Roku and Tubi. And now it is definitively so. We can't see it any other way except to say that Roku and Tubi, were we allowed to now see Disney Plus and Hulu, Roku and Tubi would almost definitely be beating them. If ESPN garners so much as 1%, and surely it must, Disney, right? Then Tubi and Roku have now exceeded Disney Plus and perhaps Hulu. But you're not allowed to see that, because of the way that Nielsen changed the rules earlier this year, perhaps saving Disney from humiliation, and more importantly, saving Disney from a major shareholder and stockholder inquiry, let's say, not official, but just as people pondered, hey, why is Tubi that we make fun of beating you, Disney Plus, beating you, maybe even Hulu? Panel, I hand it over to you, and thank you again to Mac for helping us put this all together. But Disney's not moving. Other services like YouTube, Roku, and Tubi are big, big winners. Culture, you paid close attention to streaming. I'm going to go to you first. I was worried we wouldn't even have you for this. Glad you've been able to make it for this one. Culture, your thoughts on the idea that Nielsen may have made a change to help Disney?
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. Disney's actually been dying slowly for a while. In the industry, the big no-no word is something called churn, which means that you're having people leave your service that you have to replace. The churn numbers are fascinating, even when they're not publicly revealed. If we were to look at Hulu's contribution to Disney because of that little asterisk, I would imagine that is the bulk of the viewership at this point. It's where the adult television products are. It's where the adult-oriented films, things like that. And it does have children's programming as well. FX and FXX and all of the Fox stuff really is a major, probably their slugger when it comes to producing high quality content that not only goes out on its networks, but also Hulu exclusives. In fact, that's where Shogun came from. So when you are taking a look at Hulu, it was gaining ground on Disney when it was publicly visible, and now it's folded in, and that percentage hasn't changed. That indicates to me that Disney's churn is fairly significant. They've had historical losses since the very beginning. I've been calling this out since, I don't know, forever, with $11.4 billion in losses so far, of which Iger actually talked about and took the blame for. You're talking about massive amounts of money where they're spending $650 million on 2 seasons of Andor, and the Acolyte, which was $230 million for 1 season. You are looking at just a huge capital outlay that has no benefit because it hasn't grown the platform. And as you look at the performance of that, you've got 150 million subscriptions in 2023 for Disney minus. They added about 1.4 million in Q1 of 2025, and they're just looking like they're losing about 4 million subscribers that they have to replace fairly regularly. That is a huge churn for that platform. Not to mention the fact that, you cannot quantify in numbers what the value is for any of these shows, let alone, any of these other projects that are tied into it. The only thing I know that people have been raving about have been like the behind the scenes of Imagineering or something similar. There's really not a lot out there that drives interest, and we know because of Gilroy's statements about Andor that he had been told outright that streaming is dead, and Bob Iger admits that we spent too much on streaming. When you combine these statements together, I don't think Disney's in a good place financially with Disney Plus, and I think rolling Hulu in to Disney with Project Hulk, which I think you talked about a couple years ago, Pro, really kind of has become the Hulu-centered situation with Disney Plus, and everything else is an also-ran over there.
Well, here's a question. We're watching as the Disney market share stays at 5%, and 5% of the time people are using their TV, they're on a Disney platform, not Disney Plus. It could be ESPN, could be Hulu, etc. That to me does not indicate if everything's going to be streaming, if that's where the whole market's going, whether it's financially viable or not, that's not a leader in entertainment. When you're looking and you say, well, YouTube, just if you limit it, it's still, it's more than doubling everything you have, Disney. So YouTube is clearly the leader. Now, my question about this is, we have previously talked about how, James Gunn says that Disney killed Marvel for Disney Plus. Like, they made a decision, and they may have done the same thing to Star Wars. At least they did after The Mandalorian Season 2. So if Disney killed the golden goose in Marvel, if they killed their box office, the business they had for Disney Plus, I got to say to shareholders out there, I'm not sure 5% is a big enough return on investment for killing Marvel. That was just about a guaranteed $1 billion blockbuster machine every single time, 2 or 3 times a year.
Right, and you also have to throw in there that they bought Fox, so they're consolidating Fox into this as well. So really, they have not gotten a return on the amount of money that they have spent here. Fox has pretty much disappeared as far as value goes.
And that's the point, Jonas, because I'm sure you'll agree, and when you hear the statement, you'll understand. They've stymied the growth of Hulu for 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Because of this trying to acquire Hulu fully in the first place. They didn't dump a lot of development into shows or making sure they could assure themselves of television productions from other networks and places like that. We knew the Comcast Universal stuff was going to go away, but going out and acquiring other people's stuff is always the successful version of streaming. You just have to look at Netflix for that. But they stymied the growth of Hulu intentionally so as not to increase the purchase price of Hulu or what they'd have to go in the back end. And that kind of assured what would you call it? Stunted. They stunted the growth of Hulu specifically, which was always going to be their big league heavy hitter. And that was dumb. I can't believe the number of dumb things Disney does simultaneously. And the guy that's all to blame is this Iger fella who was never really out of the picture, even when, he's trying to blame everything on Chapek. All the strategy, all the pursuit of more content like Marvel and Star Wars. That was all that dude's fault.
Well, it's a very simple structure. If it was good, then it was Bob Iger's fault. If it was bad, then it was Bob Chapek's fault.
No, there you go.
So if we look at this, Disney at 5%, they've been stuck there for 3 months. There's no growth happening. So if Disney is stuck at 5% and Roku is growing and Roku is now at 2.5%, I can't see if Disney split in 3 ways, Hulu, ESPN, Disney Plus. I can't see any way that Roku is losing to any of them. Roku, and here's the deal. It's not making headlines, right? Because it's not being put to the public this way. But Ron, what would people think if they knew the truth, which is that Roku almost definitely is beating Disney Plus. Roku is almost definitely beating Hulu. Disney is supposed to be like the biggest entertainment company in the world. It's not anymore, but it's supposed to be. And little Roku is beating Disney.
To be honest, Pro, I think there's a lot of people, I think there's a very large segment of people who simply wouldn't care, because that's the biggest reason that Disney Plus is losing. They have lost a lot of market share because a lot fewer people care. Yes, there are what they call the Disney stands or the pixie dusters or any of that kind of stuff. They'll always defend Disney to the grave no matter what they do. They can go any direction, and there will be people that follow like they're, in some kind of a Mickey Mouse cult. I don't know what it is, but the fact of the matter is Disney has lost the public trust and the public interest, and there's always people, there's always other companies, there's always other creatives that will fill that space. I am watching right now what DreamWorks is doing, and they're doing some outstanding work. You see what Universal is doing with Epic Universe. The fact of the matter is, I think there's a lot fewer Disney fans than there used to be. And when you see the up and coming generation, they really don't seem to care. The younger kids today, the generation, I don't know what it's, Z or Alpha or Beta or whatever, they're not that interested in Disney. Certainly not like they used to be. And there's so much other content that honestly is just better. And that's what it comes down to.
Erica, when you're looking for a streaming solution, when you're trying to find something to watch, what's a go-to for you and your family? What are you using to watch entertainment? Are you mostly on YouTube? Because that's what the chart shows is happening.
99% of our entertainment is all YouTube, and we're always finding new content creators with just new angles of all kinds of different content. I can't even explain it. I mean, we all know, and even the audience knows, there's just all these little like niches, from this old guy in the UK reviewing cruise lines, is entertaining. You have law enforcement videos, cop chases, investigative stories. You can catch that there. I don't even need to subscribe to Discovery. And it's just all there, and it's convenient, really convenient.
And I don't think that people have fully understood just how much YouTube has usurped Disney. I mean, YouTube came in and just basically said, we're going to be the kings, the queens of streaming, and it's through the democratization of entertainment, right? It's handing the power to independent content creators, and that is like a philosophical paradigm shift, and it's absolutely winning.
Right. I'll also point out it's gotten to the point where even Dana Walden is saying, "Oh, but we're on YouTube too."
Go ahead, Erica.
Another thing to another aspect to YouTube is that the audience can connect with the content creator, and traditional Hollywood doesn't really have that, not in the same way YouTube does. So you can journey with people and you make connections, you grow your friends, and it's relational,
Yes, and it's
Hollywood
interactive the whole way
have
through.
that.
It's also interactive the whole way through, Erica. So like on
Yeah.
YouTube, if you're doing a live show, the people in the chat are interacting with the people that are on screen, and there's a back and forth. It's incredible that way.
Right. And Hollywood doesn't provide that. So, and you could even get into the comments and engage with the content creator. If they're more traditionally vloggers versus live streamers, you can engage that way. It's just a different type of entertainment. And I think we're just hooked on that, especially after the pandemic when we were craving human connection. And this is entertainment that mixes human connection.
Absolutely. And Jonas, we've actually got some breaking news. You're just sending me something from our same source, Mac. Now it's known. Let's go to that right now. All right, no joke, folks. This is new to me. Jonas, walk us through what you see here.
Well, this chart is from Luminate, which is why it's barely readable. This is the top SVOD originals average audience age for January through March.
Come on, Jonas. Don't you love a good chart that uses variations of mauve and plum?
Honestly, different shades that are almost the same here. I feel like I need one of those swatches from the paint aisle.
This looks like they're testing for chlorine in a pool. What is this?
Exactly. Okay, so the darkest color is people under 18 who are watching according to their viewership data here. Disney Plus obviously has a ton of under 18 viewers, which is
Bluey.
Not a shock. That's Bluey, and that's probably Moana and Moana 2. I'm going to say that it's probably going to shift more towards Moana than Moana 2. That's a gut feeling. That's not Jonas was wrong. If it turns out kids like Moana 2 wrong, better. Now, this 18 to 24 is what we want to look at here. If you look at Hulu is beating Disney Plus there. And then it appears that over there, 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 on Paramount, that's some pretty big margins right there.
Yes. Okay. Here's what's fascinating, though. We want to look at the demo. So the demo, and this is actually really hard to read. In fact, when I was looking at the Hulu one, I was like, okay, well, why is it not so dark on the bottom? Then I realized, there's nobody under 18 watching Hulu. Okay, got it. All right, so the demo is going to be the 25 to 54. So we've got 3 categories there. So let's look and see if we can figure this out. It looks to me like Hulu's pretty good there. Disney Plus is pretty darn terrible, 25 to 54. Paramount is doing well, but Prime is probably doing slightly better. So the only real loser as I look at the demo is Disney Plus. Does that look, I know this is actually, in fact, we'll full screen this, but that looks to me to be right as I examine this very lavender chart. Does that look right to you, Jonas, that Disney Plus?
Yeah. And
when it comes to the demo?
Do you know what this reminds me of? When Bob Chapek got pilloried for saying that we need to have content on Hulu because grown-ups want to watch content as well. And they're like, no, Disney content is true. I trust in my heart that the adults like Disney content as well. It needs to be on Disney Plus. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you're right.
The other thing I see here is that Paramount Plus has basically nobody under 18 watching it. That would be a total collapse in the whole Nickelodeon concept.
Well, the only people watching Nickelodeon are like me and my wife, like we're watching like Rugrats and Hey Arnold and things that we grew up with.
Right. So Nickelodeon as a purveyor of new stuff on streaming for kids is just a non-factor. It looks like.
I don't think Nickelodeon has a lot of like. I haven't seen anything new from Nickelodeon in forever.
They're still I saw a thing where they're putting some slime on some celebrities or something.
Can I say that this infographic is terrible?
Yes, okay. We all agree. It's terrible.
Luminate is the worst. The worst. I'm actually surprised it gets as bright as it does, because usually it's earth tones and purples. It's so bad.
Can I just say, Erica, please don't harangue me for this, but This was definitely made by a woman. There's no man who...
My mom used to say that us women, we have an amazing ability to ruin things, even for women. So
Well, there's no man who said, hey, how many variations of mauve can I use to show this chart in slightly different hues? Put this baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated, anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that. And we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.